Well, good evening. It is Friday, May the 23rd, 2025. Sarah and I have just settled in to our first night's camp here at Diamond Meadows Olympic National Park. We just covered roughly 12 miles of beautiful hiking through the lush Dosewallips River drainage. This will be our first night of a 3-night trip into the interior of Olympic National Park. It is our first early season climb of the 2025 season. Tomorrow morning we plan on waking up and heading further up the Dosewallips drainage all the way to Anderson Pass, and then all the way up to make a high camp on the moraines of the now non-existent Anderson Glacier. We hope to spend 2 nights up there and get a chance to finally go explore the slopes of Mount Anderson itself. Long approaches up long river valleys are kind of the status quo when you come up here to climb in the Olympic Mountains. Today was no exception to the rule. It was 12 miles of moderate up and down, nothing too steep, mostly flat. Some of it along the river, but all of it through this beautiful forest, ending here at this camp. And we're really happy and really comfortable to be staying our first night here. We've got this beautiful fire going, tent is all set up, and we're about to eat our dinner. And we're just gonna let tomorrow simmer on the back burner and enjoy the moment of where we find ourselves at right now. To be honest, I wasn't looking forward to the long approach hike up the valley today. I mean, we're both in pretty good shape, but we're not in mountain shape. And we tried to downsize our packs, we really did. We just couldn't do it enough, and we still ended up hiking up here with rather thick, large, bulging packs. Kind of weighed us down. I think after a couple of days like today, we will be in mountain shape. Tucked away behind Diamond Meadows Camp is this beautiful stretch of the Dosewallips River. It's definitely gotten a lot smaller the further we've hiked up the valley. Sarah says it's ice cold. It sure is beautiful how crystal clear the water is. This trip is also kind of special for a different reason. Feeling kind of nostalgic being here at Diamond Meadows. The last time that I was at this location was the summer of 1997. I was in middle school and I was participating in my first ever 50-mile backpacking trip with my Boy Scout troop. And this was the second night of our trip. I remember laying right over there in the camp under a tarp system, and we made a game out of swatting all of the black deer flies, and we had little piles of them right next to us. Diamond Meadows back here is nowhere near how I remembered it. It seemed bigger and more lush and more open, but as we can see here, there's a lot more growth that's probably taken over since then. What I do remember though was a fairly large black bear came lumbering right across through these meadows when we were laying over there. And I thought that was so cool, you know, to witness that for one of the first experiences in my life. I think I'd only seen maybe one more black bear before that day, and we ended up seeing quite a few of them on that trip. There was nowhere near the technology in cameras that we have now. I think one member of our party had a tiny disposable camera that you would take pictures on and then get the film developed and then pretty much throw it away. And those are the only photographs that exist of that trip, that 50-miler that we did. So what that means is most of that trip is locked here in the memory. And it was the seed that was planted deep in here, and it kind of waited for several years while I was going through my adolescence, college, and athletics, and then it resurfaced later on in my early 20s. And I was like, you know what? I remember that trip that we did with Boy Scouts up the Dosewallips River to Mount Anderson and beyond. And I want to continue to do things like that. I want to start backpacking again. So, to close down this amazing day and this beautiful evening, I want to give one final shout out to Mr. Everman, the leader of our 50-miler, the scoutmaster of our troop at the time. If you're out there somewhere, somehow, and you stumble upon this YouTube video that I made of this trip, just know that I hope that you're in good health, and know that I'm still out here getting it done, and I will never forget the skills that you taught us along the way. Well, good morning. It's Saturday, the second day of the trip. It's quite chilly in the woods this morning. It didn't take me much to get this small fire going. We'll start working on breakfast. And we got to pack all this up. We're heading up to our high camp today. Camp is all packed up. The Tetris game of putting everything in the backpacks is all over with. They fit a lot better than they did yesterday, and they're just a tad bit lighter. You gotta eat your food. We have hit the trail, and that food has definitely rejuvenated our bodies and feel a tad bit stronger and not as sore as we did when we got to camp yesterday. Yesterday's challenges were, of course, just the mileage and walking so far with heavy packs, but it was relatively easy on the trail. And today we are probably going to run into snow, and the route finding challenges are going to begin. So now we're on the south side of the Dosewallips River, and we're going to stay on this side until we reach Honeymoon Meadows. And we're going to slowly gain altitude now. We're going to reach snow at some point, and then we will be in the Olympic high country. Alright, I'm gonna get my feet wet here. Definitely ice cold, slick. Woo! now we are across Honeymoon Meadows. We have reached continuous snow. We've switched to snow boots. It feels good to get them off of our backpacks. Anderson Pass is just down there. We've actually climbed up about 100 feet from the pass, taking a break in the shade. It's going on 1:00 p.m. All the route finding problems today have definitely slowed us up. We are approaching the last half mile. We have to make it up to the top of that knob. Woohoo! We have arrived. All that's left today is to just relax and have fun and enjoy ourselves. We have quite a few hours until the sun goes down, so just the big goal now is just to get off of our feet. I've already drank 1 bottle of water. I'm going to start hydrating. I think I'm going to eat lunch here in a few minutes, and I brought a very small paperback to read. And the reading material for this trip is The Red Badge of Courage by Stephen Crane. I'm really excited to read this book. I've been reading quite a bit about the American Civil War, and this book keeps coming up as a must-read. There's enough solar radiation up here now to melt snow in our shovels. So we got that process going too. Give it a couple hours and this whole pile of snow will melt down to liquid without using any of our fuel. We have liquid water. Looking south from our high camp, these are some of the peaks we're looking at. Over here, but over to the left, or to the east, would be La Crosse Pass. And then that is La Crosse Mountain right there. That is White Mountain, and there's a tiny little remnant. Perfect little lobe of ice down in there. And coming into view over here, that is looking down the East Fork of the Quinault. Down there in those depths is the Enchanted Valley. Way off are the peaks of the Colonel Bob Wilderness. And beyond that is the Pacific Ocean. Well, it is going on 7 p.m. and our second day here at High Camp is quickly winding down. We took about a 2-hour nap. It felt really good to lay down, get off the feet, stretch, meditate, and relax to the pure silence that is up here. We're pretty much enjoying this whole place to ourselves at the moment. And we got about probably, I'd say, 20 minutes to a half hour before the sun goes down behind the ridge over there. It's probably going to get quite a bit colder. Beautiful day, not a cloud in the sky, very warm. Snow conditions were not that bad. It was loose just on the top, but very firm underneath. Despite seeing lots of evidence around here on the slopes of some loose, wet avalanches, but I have no idea how long ago those happened. There's nothing like the Olympic Mountains when they're heaving with snow. This is a first experience for me being up here in snow like this. I came up here once with Mr. Everman on the 50 miler. I've been up here another time solo, so this is my third time up here to this moraine, and I think it's the coolest experience yet. All that is left to do tonight is to just lounge around camp, get the final preparations ready on our equipment, get our nice light day packs ready to go tomorrow, and enjoy the evening light show that is about to begin. Good night, everybody. So up there is where our camp is, and we have dropped down to the shores of this frozen over glacial lake, and we're making our way towards Flypaper Pass up there. We're going to take advantage of this running water to drink what we got in our bottles and fill up before we go further up into this beautiful cirque. Look at this massive wet loose slide that came down off of that hill right there, and even the snow right now is not frozen. It's very soft. Flypaper Pass. Clouds don't look like they're going away today. So we're going to make our next decision on what we do from this point on. West Peak should be right over there. And then here's looking down Eel Glacier. Probably not as windy on that side. And then up there to the right is the way that we go from Main Anderson. Alright, we are roped up and traveling down onto the Eel Glacier. It's not as windy on this side as it was on the other side. Crazy. We have attained the summit ridge of Mount Anderson. Pretty sure this is a cornice over here off to the right. And in no time here, we should be on the top. It's got a little bit longer to go here. Just gotta go up that way. That final ridge push. And the summit should be right up there. I mean, it doesn't go up any higher than that. Woohoo! We are on the summit of Mount Anderson. Way down there is the Eel Glacier. Getting good views of the entire Anderson Massif. Just over there beyond those clouds is the West Peak. That was an option, and we decided not to take it because of all the clouds. And trust me, the snow is really soft too. There's no firmness to it. I can see the Enchanted Valley down there. And that's about where the chalet is. Pretty much standing on the top right here. There's the Geologic Survey. Very soft snow coming off to the east here. Looking south at all the peaks in the southeastern Olympics. Endless. They go for miles and miles all around you. There's our approach valley way down there. That's the Dosewallips, and I can just about see where Diamond Meadow is. Way off over there now, it's the east peak of Mount Anderson. Mount Constance is way over there. There's Mount Mystery, Mount Deception, and all the needles. And then we've come around full circle here. Now, we gotta have a snack, hydrate, and get down off of this beast. Sarah, what do you think of the summit of Mount Anderson?
It's pretty great. I wish we could stay here longer, but I'm a little worried about the snow right here.
So there are crevasses here on the Eel Glacier. There are quite a few ice chunks that have broken off and fallen down. All right, we have made it back down to the Eel Glacier. And now we just gotta ascend up to Flypaper Pass, and then we drop way down the other side. Every mountain range has a particular flavor to them. The Olympics tend to be really needle sharp. They're not that high in altitude, but they offer everything that one would want in a mountain range. They are isolated, they're on a peninsula, surrounded on three sides by water, and it gets pretty chilly up here. Just down there is the East Fork of the Quinault River. I pointed that out yesterday. And any rain coming off of the Pacific is going to shoot up that valley. And Mount Anderson behind me is pretty much the first mountain that's going to rise up over, funneled by that deep valley. So I'd imagine it gets quite a bit of snow on this mountain. That was evident today. Lots of avalanches were going on when we were coming down the Flypaper Pass. A group on top of us kicked some wet slides down that almost hit us. And they themselves, when they were coming down Flypaper Pass, got engulfed by a very large wet loose avalanche that just showered over rock bands and cliff bands above them. It was quite terrifying to watch from our safe position down below them. Which leads me to my next point. Mount Anderson, the whole massif behind me, all these peaks right here, it's a very significant collection of mountains here on the Olympic Peninsula. It's not necessarily in the center of the range. It's kind of lopsided down here towards more like the southeast, but it is the hydrologic apex of the Olympic Peninsula. The glaciers and the water and the streams flowing off of Mount Anderson go to three separate bodies of water. To the west, the Dosewallips River drains out to the canal. To the north, I believe it's the Hayes River, links up with the Elwha, goes out to the Strait of Juan de Fuca, and out there to the southwest drains the East Fork of the Quinault River, and that goes out to the Pacific. So because of that, it's a very popular, very famous mountain. A lot of people wish to come up here and climb on it or just see it standing right here on this spot. I'm really glad that Sarah and I got that opportunity to finally make some dreams come true this Memorial Day holiday. Mountains make their own weather, and that's looking down in the direction of the East Fork Quinault Valley. And it did just what I was talking about a few minutes ago. It funneled all this right up against Mount Anderson, and you can see how we can see nothing now. I really missed that fire from the first night, and then the beautiful sunlight that was just glorious yesterday. And this is the current situation we are in. White out, pea soup, can't see nothing, and it's actually pretty chilly. We took a quick nap, and I got out of the tent. I didn't have as much layers on. I was shivering pretty bad. Teeth were chattering. So I threw on some long underwear. Me and Sarah just cooked dinner. So we're gonna put hot liquids and hot food in us, and this day is winding down. Don't think we're going to get much sunset light tonight. So after we're done eating, and as soon as this is melted and boiled and in the bottle, crawling in that shelter in that down sleeping bag, and I'm looking forward to a really good night's sleep. I hope we wake up into semi-decent weather tomorrow. We're able to get down into the Dosewallips drainage as quickly and safely and as dry as we possibly can. Good night, everybody. Now this is the official good morning Memorial Day 2025. Sarah and I have made it successfully back down to the Camp Siberia shelter, and I'm not going to lie, we were in survival mode pretty much all morning. Backpacking and climbing in the Olympics would not be complete without a rainstorm. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Packed up and went down to Camp Siberia last night. But we're having a rain day. We're semi-successful packing everything up in a complete downpour up here. Our main goal was just to get everything in the backpacks and get down here to the safety of this shelter, and then we'll just repack it then. We did all of our packing up inside the tent as much as we could. We just threw everything in the bag. We were just sitting there waiting for the right moment to take down the tent, and the wind just whoosh down off of Mount Anderson, pretty much blew the tent over with us inside of it. We took that as a sign from nature that it was time to get going. So with numb hands, pounding rain, blowing wind, we threw everything in the packs, very sloppily, and now we're here. So we got everything unpacked again, letting the tent dry out. We're gonna have hot breakfast here, hot coffee, hot cocoa, just get our gear ready and packed comfortably so that we can hike 17 miles down the Dosewallips drainage all the way back to our car today. The snow has melted a lot since we were up at the moraine, and it's not as sloppy as I thought it would be down here. It's only a couple miles from here down to Honeymoon Meadows, but we have to ford the creek, and then after that our feet shouldn't get wet that much anymore. So one more day here in Olympic. It's not complete without a rainstorm, being so close to the coast here. This adventure is just living up to its name. We're gonna get dried out, get warmed up a bit, and hit the trail.